Hello everyone, Kevin Gooch here. Thank you for your time today. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the work of the 100 Black Men of Atlanta, Inc. We are a 34-year-old organization that focuses on mentoring and making a difference in the community. We are a volunteer-led member organization with a roster that begins with Hammer and Hank Aaron and ends with Ambassador Young. And we have a lot of legends and titans of industry in between. And the common theme amongst these men is that we all came together to lock arms and truly make a difference to impact our community through mentoring, because what they see is what they will be. We appreciate all of the support that we've received throughout the years and in 2020. But unfortunately, we've had to cancel 3 of our biggest fundraisers for the year. That would be our 100 Honors, the Celebration Bowl, and Divots and Divas. And so as an organization, we need your help. We need more help. If you want us to continue to provide the programming that we've been delivering to our young people, if you want us to continue to deliver on that promise that we've made to positively impact the community by making a difference in the lives of the young people in these communities that are often left behind, these vulnerable young people, please support our organization. You can go to our website, you can make a donation there. You can connect with our members, you can call our office, and we will be happy to have you in the fold with us, supporting us, investing in us, so that we can do the same for the young people that we serve in this community that we serve. Good afternoon, everyone. And we have a great guest for our latest installment of our Let's Talk Leadership series. For those that are new to the program, this program is designed to walk through the leadership journey of our guests in order to illuminate the path for some of our high school scholars and students and our college scholars and students, as well as our young professionals that are embarking on their leadership journeys. And so we've been talking to members of the 100 and friends of the 100 to create this content and this advice and this guidance that we can share with our high school students, our college students, and our young professionals. And today we have a great treat. We have Mr. Don Prophete with us today. So I will introduce Brother Prophete, and then we will get into some questions and talk a little leadership. So here we go. So Don Prophete. Don is a trial lawyer who excels at representing large clients in complex and multi-plaintiff race employment discrimination cases. He has handled many high-profile and high-damage cases in the sports, military contractor, and retail industries. Don has served as lead trial counsel in all types of employment disputes in federal and state courts in New Hampshire, New York, Kansas, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee, including decertification, wage and hour jury trials for major national employers. So the brother has a national employment practice. Don's practice encompasses all aspects of labor law and labor relations. He has extensive experience assisting the firm's clients in responding to union organizing campaigns, negotiating and advising clients with respect to the administration of collective bargaining agreements, and representing clients in grievance and arbitration proceedings. In addition to his labor and litigation activities, Don's daily practice revolves significantly around providing advice and counsel to C-suite executives on whistleblower and other matters in the following business sectors: technology, retail, military contractors, and manufacturers. The brother has a long list of honors and recognitions, including Best Lawyers in America, Chambers USA Guide, Client Service All-Star by BTI, the Legal 500, Missouri and Kansas Super Lawyers, and Missouri's Top Lawyers. He received his BA from Fordham University and his JD from Boston University College of Law. He has been recognized as one of the most influential Black lawyers in the country. Best Lawyers in Kansas City, Who's Who Legal Award, A+ Superior Attorney rating from the National Registry. He's involved in a whole host of community organizations. And I don't know how the brother finds the time, but he's always giving back, supporting the community, and supporting young lawyers, and in particular, lawyers of color. And just to highlight it, he works with the firm Constangy, Brooks, Smith, and Prophete. The brother has his name on the door of one of the top law firms in the country. And if I'm not mistaken, he is still the only brother with his name on the door of one of the top 250 law firms in the country. So I bring to you today, Brother Don Prophete. Brother Prophete, you ready? Let's talk a little leadership.
I'm ready. Thanks for that very, very kind introduction. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, man. And I appreciate you more than you know, man. You've been there for me in some of my big decisions in my life and provided me some good guidance and counsel. For those that don't know, I recently left a great firm, which was the third largest law firm in the world, and moved to another great firm which is a better fit for my practice. And I talked to Don along the way. And so I appreciate you for that. And you always step up to the plate and answer the call when I ring you up. So I appreciate that.
Well,
So tell us a little bit about your current role as a named partner at one of the largest law firms in the United States. What's your story?
So, can you guys hear me well?
Yes.
So my role as a named partner is not very different than my role as a partner generally in the law firm. So one of the things I try to do, and I spend a lot of time, is matters related to creating more opportunities for people of color in the legal profession, but certainly in the in our firm, right? At least I have some level of control over what happens within the doors of our firm. So I spend a lot of time recruiting lawyers of color, supporting them to the extent necessary, developing them, and really creating a playing field that is equal for them and that is the same as the playing field for non-racially diverse lawyers. So that's my role. I spend a fair amount of time with the rest of my time. I spend on business development with clients, spending time with them, figuring out what their needs are going to be before maybe even they know what their needs are going to be. So I try to stay ahead of the curve at all time when possible.
Okay, let's get a little bit more specific on that. So what's a day like for you? A day in the life of Don Prophete?
Wow. So before COVID, a day, as you know, and you'll remember this, a day in my life meant probably a day on a plane, right? So I used to travel about 175 days a year. So our firm has offices in 16 states and 20 some odd offices. So I'd be anywhere from California to New York in a week. But COVID's really restricted that, and I've been happy with being grounded. It's, I think, allowed me to be more effective and more to save some of my energy as well. So a day for me, I wake up anywhere between 4:30 and 5 in the morning. I am an avid news reader, so I think it's important that you read and you understand what's going on around you in the world at all times. It makes you a better person, and certainly it makes you a better professional. So I wake up, I read 3 papers. I read the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, and the New York Times, and then I sneak onto the ESPN sports section. So you got to get your sports in. Every one of us got to live a little. So then I start answering emails anywhere between 6 and 6:30 in the morning. And then, the day, these days, I spend probably 6, 7 hours a day on video conferences with clients. Then I spend 2 to 3 hours a day just catching up with my relationships, people who are important to me, like Kevin. I'll call Kevin or he'll call me. I'll spend time talking to him. I'll catch up. So every day I have two or three people I have designated that I haven't spoken to who mean a lot to me, my relationships in the profession. And I call them or email them and text them. And then I shut down around 8 p.m., 9 p.m. At night. So that's a typical day for me.
So again, I think the world of you, and I steal the Jeezy line. You're like your favorite lawyer's favorite lawyer, and you got your name on the door of your law firm. Like when you were a young buck, did you know you wanted to be an attorney? And if so, sort of what motivated you to want to practice law? Like, was it
Hey,
intentional where you are today, or did it just sort of happen and you just went with the flow?
yeah, that's a good question. You and I have talked about this, Kev. You know, I came from very meager beginnings, right? So, uh, I'm an immigrant. Came here from Haiti when I was 5. We were poor. It was my mom and my grandmother. My dad left us shortly thereafter, so they raised me. Uh, I had never met a lawyer in my life, so I didn't really know what a lawyer did. But I can't tell you what event in my life took place, but I always knew that I wanted to be a lawyer, right? I just felt like that a lawyer had something to do with instilling legal principles and applying legal principles in a fair way. That's all I kind of figured, right? And so I followed up with that, and that's the only thing I ever wanted to do. And you know, by the grace of a superb mom who sacrificed heavily for me and spent every penny she made to try to educate me and keep me out of jail, I was able to make it through college and law school, and then pursue my goal.
Yeah, and I like to ask that question because you have a lot of our college students, high school students that feel like they may not know where they want to end up, or you have some of our folks that have graduated and they feel let down because they aren't working in the field that they study. And so I just want to like let people know you may not have it figured out early on, and that's okay. And just sort of take the chips as they, flow and roll with it and be adaptable to your circumstances and go after your version of success. It doesn't have to be someone else's version of success for you, but go after your version of success.
100% right. Again, the mere fact that I thought I knew what I wanted to do at an early age was just chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your goal in life and our goal in life is to figure out at the right time what you're good at and what you want to do, and then just trust the journey. And now, the journey for us is rough, right? But just trust the journey. Don't give up. Keep going after your goal. Once you figure it out, just go 100% in. And it's not how you start the race, it's how you finish the race, right? So you don't have, you may not be strong out the gates, but as long as you're strong at the finish, that's what matters.
So let me ask you this. What's the most important characteristic of a young person that comes to you and they say they want to practice law? What would you look for in them?
Wow. That's a good question. You know, I like hustlers, right? I'm from New York. I'm from Harlem. I like people who show me that they've been able to overcome a lot of adversity in their lives, because I think that if you're going to be a lawyer in a big firm, if you are going to be successful in life, uh, as a black person or a person of color, you're going to be faced with a lot of adversity. So I want somebody that I feel like I can bunker up with, and then when they're shooting at us, I'm not gonna die from friendly fire, right? Person is so nervous and buckles down, and then they shoot you by mistake. I'm not for that. So for me, people who have shown the ability to overcome adversity, are typically people who are strong-willed, hard workers, drivers, and who have strong integrity, right? Who have certain things that they follow and they stay with it. And I think those things are essential to being a good lawyer. You're smart. Y'all are smart, right? So that comes naturally, right? But most lawyers don't have these other elements that I'm looking for. And, I look for that very strongly. Being number one in the class is not as important to me as some of my partners.
So, and that reminds me of one of the sort of mottos that I live by and that guides me. And it is that success is leased, not owned, and rent is due every single day. So you got to be
Amen,
willing
brother.
to grind and hustle and get after it. So, and one other thing that has been consistent throughout these discussions with different prominent leaders that we've talked to is integrity. And so I just want to emphasize that point because we've heard that time and time and time again, the importance of having the willingness to grind and work and the importance of doing that with integrity. So for those
Yes.
listening in, I just wanted to highlight that point. So grind and integrity are things that you look for in someone that wants to be a lawyer. Are there any other characteristics that you look for in someone that you want to promote to leadership?
Yeah. So, uh, my deal is this. I've evolved greatly over the years, and I've struggled through that because, as a general proposition, I tend to promote people to leadership who are good subject matter. So somebody that's good at their job, we naturally are inclined to say, okay, that's the person I'm going to promote. I'm going to give the opportunity, which is not necessarily the best leader because you have some people who are very good at their job, but have not demonstrated leadership capabilities. A lot of them are more or a better place as being individual contributors. Leadership requires, and good leadership requires, a significant level of personal sacrifice and ego sacrifice to be a really good leader. You have to care about the people on your team first and foremost, and you have to look out for them and you have to direct them. And it's a sacrifice on your time. It's an ego sacrifice. It's a lot of those things. A lot of people who are very good at what they do don't meet those elements. So I've made mistakes, many mistakes. And this is a recurring theme that you will hear from me. I've made a lot of mistakes throughout my career. So, but you overcome them. And I've learned that you have to pick your leaders very carefully, not only people who are the best at what they do, but people who are the most focused on the mission and the people who are the best able to motivate others to be their best. So that's what I look for now, people who have the respect and the ability to motivate people on the team to be the best that they can be, to bring out those things. And those are two different personalities. So uh, it's a lesson of life.
Okay. And you know that we are a mentoring organization. So, what role did mentors play in your professional journey? And as you were being mentored along the way, how did you get the most out of those relationships?
So early on uh, in my firm life, I was the only black dude in the firm, right? As is probably true still for a number of lawyers, or just there's two or three of us, I should say, in the firm. So it was hard to get mentorship. My mentorship came later when midterm in my life, and my career started really progressing after I met people like Wharton Bellamy, after I've had people like Kevin Gooch and all that. So, a lot of people think that mentoring means the old guy, me, telling the younger folks what to do. But mentoring also comes from the younger guys and laterally, and it comes vertically down as well. So it is critical that you understand that you first of all, surround yourself with the best people. If you surround yourself with your best people and you can keep your mouth shut long enough, you'll be mentored by everybody around you. You will own a piece of all of their experiences, and all of their wisdom and all of their success, and you can craft your best you as a result of that. And that's your goal. That's what mentoring is the ability to really have a relationship with people and then transfer the asset of wisdom to yourself and to craft your best self. So I've had Kevin, you're one of my mentor. Wharton Bellamy is he's the Puba for me in the mentor ring. He's brilliant and he's walked me through a lot in life. I have younger partners who started with me as an associate and who've grown, who are now my partners, and I call them my bosses because they tell me what to do now, right? So mentoring comes from every aspect, and remember that. Take from every relationship that you respect, but always give back as well.
On that point, so you're a very busy person, right? And we don't ever want to waste our time. So what is it that you see in someone that makes you sort of latch on to them and say, yeah, that's somebody special that I want to spend some time with and share my experience and expertise with them?
So I have so little time that really you have to come to me and had developed the relationship, right? Because the word mentoring may be overused, but I may have 100 people that I have a relationship right now with whom I really have regular contact. Younger lawyers, everywhere from law school through partnership. And I take my relationship with every one of them very seriously, right? Because the thing that we've had in our lives, or the lack of thing that we had in our life, was others in professional settings that could guide us. There were just the numbers weren't there. So, and I think a lot of your success, you all are going to be successful if you put your mind to it. But I can help expedite it by telling you where the potholes are and the pitfalls are, and by removing glass from your path, and by telling you, hey, why don't you get on my shoulders to get up this wall? There's no need for you to go ahead and scratch your knees up trying to get over this wall when I've been there 100 times. Hop on my shoulders. Let me help you. So at this stage of my career, anybody who's seriously looking to develop a relationship with me, I will mentor. So that means if they call me, they email me, they make an earnest effort to be connected, we're going to be connected. I don't turn anybody down, and I return everyone's calls.
Those are facts. I can attest to that. So you mentioned earlier that you get something out of that relationship, so it becomes mutually beneficial for you as well, huh?
100. My energy at this stage of my career, I've been practicing law for since 92, so 29 years. I get more energy in spending time with my beautiful, wonderful people of color and seeing the genius and just the opportunities that lay ahead of them than I get going out and making money. So I enjoy this aspect of my life. This next third of my career is really dedicated to trying to pay back and pay it forward in the community, in the legal community. I stay very focused on the legal community because if I spread myself too thin, I found that I'm incompetent in all things. So I try to be competent at least in one thing. And so I spend all my time really trying to give back, but it's not completely altruistic, right? Because I get as much from it as I give. So folks don't understand that. They're like, well, you got to be tired of talking to those people. I say, I never get tired of talking to those people. I love it. I love connecting with my people. I love helping them. I love the fact that I think I would have helped you save one step, right, on the 100-step journey. It may not be much, but hopefully I got you one step. Maybe I'll get you 5 steps. But it's still going to be your journey, and I love watching it, man. I love being part of it.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that response because you get a lot of people that say they want to get involved, but they don't know how. And I try to encourage them that, don't be intimidated by mentoring because you will get a lot out of it, just like you put a lot into it. And it becomes a joy to see someone that you develop relationship with become successful. And I personally feel like that's what it's all about.
I, I I think I get as much or more than what I put out. So I'm good. I could keep going on this for a long time. Y'all give me my energy, man.
So you mentioned the legal community and you're focusing the legal community. As you know, we're in this pandemic environment, which has rocked our worlds and dealt a major blow to society overall. What are some of the biggest obstacles that you've had to manage through as a leader of a major law firm, and how did you navigate them during this pandemic?
Yeah, this year has been very interesting in many regards. Interesting is kind of a euphemism, right? But I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my team, and I learned a lot about the world, right? So here are the things that I've found that I had to do. The unknown is extremely disturbing to most people, as it should be. And we were in a complete world of unknown this time last year. We still are in a largely, we don't know a lot of the stuff we don't know, but we were complete blank canvas last year. Uh, I think as a firm leader, I had to step up and really spend a lot of time with the younger lawyers, which I did regularly every week. I would have a video chat or I would have email chat because the associates are those who live the most paycheck to paycheck and who are significantly important to me and who needed reassurance that things were going to be okay. They were rocked heavily, and my role was to steady them, make them comfortable, and make sure that they understood that there was not going to be, as far as I was concerned, we were prepared not to let anybody go. And in fact, we did not lay off a single person last year. So I felt like that was the most important thing, was kind of steadying the ship. That's what you as a leader have to do. But you have to do it in a way that's credible. You can't just say, hey, it's going to be good, all that. You have to talk to them. So I talked to them real numbers. I told them, here are the numbers. Here's what I see. Here are the things I'm going to need from you. Tell me what you need from me, and let's make sure we accomplish this journey together. The other thing, the whole social debacle related to police brutality really came to a head last year as well. Uh, and it's been brewing for a long time, but it compelled me to make some very strong public statements to the firm and to the attorney corps because people were hurting in the firm. People of color were hurting, the lawyers of color, the staff of color, and also some people not of color were hurting by this whole debacle of killing innocent Black people, and finally the world watching these things happening week after week after week, if not day after day, on television. I had to step up as a Black man and continue to be a Black man, and I had to castigate these. I had to also bring the reality into the firm, but also open a communication pipeline so that we were able to heal through this, and that we weren't going to just keep it bottled up and then you blew up at your coworker. So we spent a lot of time doing that, and I spent a lot of time really messaging out our voice to the rest of the world, but also trying to soothe the pain that we suffered as a result of these unjustifiable criminal acts against Black people. Uh, so those were the two biggest challenge for me last year. Uh, And I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about what I think is necessary during times of crises. You need to talk. You really do. You need to communicate, and you need to bring people in instead of separate into low camps. So,
So are there any other lessons that you learned, things we started to do different during the pandemic that will outlast the pandemic?
yeah, I'm, as you could tell, I'm the worst person technologically on the face of this earth. So the fact that we've dropped coverage a couple of times is a testimony to that. So I was very, very bad at technology, and I still remain very bad. Hence the reason I was on a plane 175 days a year, because I felt like uh, it was necessary for me to be in front of people. I'm a firm believer that you must manage your business relationships at all times, and that means that you can't take anybody for granted, and you have to go see them and spend time with them. Uh, Very important. But now technology has really showed us that we don't need to be on a plane all the time. I
Mhm.
I've developed maybe closer relationships with a lot of people on Zoom the last year. In fact, we have more Zooms than in-person meetings, and it's been fun. So this technology has been great. It's also been great from the standpoint of exposing the fact that what the Generation Xers have been telling us, and and the millennials, that I don't need to be in the office 12 hours a day. I can get my work done, and it's true. I mean, the reality is our offices are still not open, right? People have been working remotely, and but for COVID, we would have had our best year ever last year.
Mm.
COVID was the interfering factor. We had started the year very well, and then we went into COVID. The second part of the year was very strong. So we just had the middle was kind of the hiccup time that put us a few percentage points behind. But in reality, we can do everything remotely. We don't have to have people in the office. We don't have to have people reporting in and doing FaceTime. We can do a lot of things technologically, and we're only scratching the surface. I mean, it's technology is going to get even better.
Mm. So people that have tuned into these have heard me say this before, but it's something that I believe to my core, and that is that leadership is a willingness to fail publicly, right? It's risky because you catch all the smoke from every decision, and you have to be willing to do that and take those arrows on behalf of your team, and there's nowhere to hide. So leading a bunch of alpha personalities at a major firm has to be a challenge. So what motivates you to deal with that daily grind of being a leader of alpha personalities at a major law firm?
Yeah. So great question. That leading lawyers and high level professionals is a very difficult and time sucking job. So one of the things I've done is I've removed myself from all administrative positions in the firm. I used to be on the executive board. I used to be on the comp. I used to be on every major committee, right? And I got out of that. And I decided to refocus my time on the two or three things that I felt really needed my attention. One was diversity, racial diversity, and equality at the firm. Two was generating more business for the firm. And three was managing my client relationships. So I removed myself from every single administrative function so that now these things happen only in passing, right? So people will come in and complain to me, but then I tell them, yeah, let me see how I can help, but it's not my responsibility. based on a title, right? I'm not the person responsible. I can turn them over to the next person unless it's something that requires my own involvement. And it's allowed me to do more and to preserve myself a lot more as well.
So when we talk about leadership and being willing to step out and take the heat for others, you've been very committed to diversity and inclusion efforts, and you haven't held your tongue. I mean, we've seen articles written by you challenging the legal community to sort of get it together and get it right and not just provide lip service to the topic. So why does D&I matter so much to you, and why be so outspoken on these topics?
Look, D&I matters so much to me because I believe in Black excellence. I love my people. And you know what? I shouldn't say I believe in Black excellence because it goes beyond that. I believe in the excellence of people who have been disenfranchised historically, and that's people of color. But primary to that is Black people. I'm a Black man, and my kids are Black, my family's Black, my mama's Black, everybody, my friends are Black. Uh, the smartest people in the world that I know are Black. So I believe in that. And I believe that this profession has been, in ways, very good to me. It's allowed me to make money and be, I guess, wealthy, right? So I'm not going to be scared to say that. But, I've made money in this profession. Uh, I've made a lot of mistakes. It wasn't easy. And I've also found that being one of the few or one of the only people is not satisfying to me. I'm not that dude. All right. Some people like being the only Black person in the room. I find it repulsive. Some people accept that Black people may not be as skilled, and I can objectively show you that that's untrue. Some people may accept the fact that the system, you gotta, when you are within the walls of a law firm, you have to basically uh, lose your spirit and lose yourself to succeed, meaning you can't be a true Negro no more. I don't believe that. So that's why I spent all my time doing that. I've spent all my time because I love my Black people. I know that how smart we are, and I know that we're in a system that's disenfranchised us and hasn't given us a fair shake. And I find that despite that, we have great excellence. And it is my goal to at least do everything I can, having sucked the juice out of my own fruit here that I had to give back. And I believe that this is my time to give back. And for these next 15, 20 years, that's what I want to do, is just give back as much as I can.
Let the church say amen, brother. Um, so what is your message to the folks that don't know how to move the needle when it comes to D&I efforts? How should those people tuning in fight for diversity and inclusion efforts for those that may not want to be the trailblazer or may not, necessarily want to rock the boat, but they do want to help or be allies? Like, what would you recommend for them to do?
Yeah. So and I say this, what I do and the forceful nature in which I do it is not something I recommend for everybody. I'm in a different stage of my career and life uh, where, if they come after me and I get, run over, I'm good. I could go and sit on the beach and go hang out, right? I'm good. I could do other things. So job number one for you is to remain employed. Don't do anything that's going to cause you to get yourself terminated or give them a reason to say you're the aggressive, unreasonable Black person in the room. However, you need to remain 100% authentic in your job. You need to be uncomfortable in a space where you don't see other people like you. You need to be a voice to consistently bring that up. And you can bring that up in very politic ways that don't get you in trouble. but you need to be an advocate for your people and an advocate for change. Uh, and you cannot embrace the untruth that's been sold into our minds that if you want to be the house Negro, right? You're the one who's got the best gig because you're the house Negro. So, there can only be one. If you cannot embrace that proposition or that narrative, you have to reject that, and you have to strongly oppose that in your workplace. And you have to do what's necessary to continue to edify and educate people who don't understand the importance of diversity and inclusion and the importance of equality. Now, in this day and age, I can't imagine that there's a person who's intelligent who doesn't understand that, but you will get resistance and understand that this is a contact game. So if you have real gentle feelings and you're easily rocked, then you probably need to stay out of the fray on this because you're going to get some contact.
Mm. So when we talk leadership and think about leadership, there are multiple types of leadership and philosophies of leadership: servant leadership, leaders that focus on investing in their team and building the next generation behind them. You have leaders that focus on, again, being the absolute best at what they're doing, and that's sort of their version of leadership. It may not come with sort of the motivational aspect or picking people up or sort of training them up. It's just, I'm the best partner in this practice area, and that's my leadership. How would you describe your leadership philosophy and sort of what's your North Star when it comes to leadership?
Yeah, uh, I am not a servant leader. Uh, we, the managing partner of our firm is a servant leader. He's a white Jewish guy. We're very close. Good guy, Neil Wasser. He's my friend. Uh, his genius is that he is a servant leader. He is overtly given of himself at all times. Uh, he serves the partnership. That's what he craves. I'm not that guy. I don't serve the partnership. I serve the firm generally, but I have a micro team that I am focused on developing. I have 25 or so lawyers who are people of color whose livelihoods and ability to succeed depends on what I do. So in turn, my goal is to ensure that their plates are always full, that they have access to the very best assignments. I bring the best work in the firm and they have access. They work on the best, the biggest, the most sophisticated cases. I put them in front of the clients. They have exposure early on to clients. I allow them to be their authentic self, to dress properly, but to dress authentically, to wear their hair properly, but to wear their hair authentically. I allowed them to establish the narrative that should be taking place, that we come in all forms and colors, and that our genius is beyond the way we look and beyond where we grew up. So my goal is to also develop them into being the next and better version of me, people who have the ability to develop work for themselves and be free. The freedom in the law firm means that you have the ability to generate your own work and you don't depend on others. And then most importantly, I instill, I hope, and I think everyone who's worked closely with me would say this, I instill this belief that it is their job to create this ecosystem within the halls of the firm and also eventually within the legal profession where we do well, we hire more of us, we keep wealth within our own communities and expand the opportunities for us to do well and to go and hire more and to continue to replicate this until we have a system that does not take us for granted anymore.
That's that. I mean, you hear a lot about equity. That's that equity piece, is making sure that there's a level playing field for all of us.
100%. That's the key.
So are there
We're
any
not
books?
asking for anything special. We just ask for same,
Yep,
right?
level playing field. So are there any books that you've read or that you would recommend to anyone that sort of help you develop your leadership style?
Wow. So I read a book a week. So there's a lot of books that I like. So I don't read any science fiction. I don't read any non uh, biographical books. I read everything is history, geography, biography, business. So I've my leadership styles come from aggregating dozens and maybe hundreds of books. Everything from reading Vernon Can Read, which is a great book about Vernon Jordan, to reading a book that's the closest to science fiction that I've ever read. Uh, uh, I forget the title now. It'll come to me in a second. And then I read everything from the great leaders, black and white. My favorite book has been the Black Spartacus, the story of Toussaint Louverture, Haitian brother general, who was the first to liberate blacks in the world, really. He was the
Mm.
first in Haiti. He liberated the blacks from the French in the early 1800s, and his leadership philosophy. And my leadership philosophy resembles his very much, right? He believed in equality. He wanted everybody to get along, but he was willing to do what was hard to enforce it. So, so everything for me has been an amalgamation of these things. So the book I was thinking of is The Alchemist. I would, for young folks, I would very much uh, recommend that you read that book simply because it is a book that teaches you to embrace the journey, to follow the journey, and to go ahead and seek your legend and accomplish your legend. It's a phenomenal book. It's only about 300 pages. It's a 2-day read. So that's basically how I've created my leadership style.
So let's take a sort of step back and look over your journey. When were you first thrust into a leadership position? Sort of how did it go?
My first, s- well, the first time, wow. I think the first time I was thrust into leadership position was when I was in house. I was in house for a few years at Sprint, and then I got promoted to the head of the labor and employment group for the at the time was the local telephone division. So there were about 30,000 employees, and I was placed in charge of 3 lawyers doing the labor and employment work. So that was the first time. I had never supervised anybody. No, this is not true. My first leadership position was at Haagen-Dazs when I was in high school. I was the
Okay.
manager. I was That's right. I was the manager of the Haagen-Dazs on 75th Street in Columbus in New York City, man. That's where I cut my teeth. So I had scoopers under me, 2 scoopers at all times, and I opened and closed the store and counted the money, and that was my first leadership position.
I love to ask that question and hear about the journey that people have been on and sort of where they started. Like I started off working at Kmart and Wolf Camera and Blockbuster Video. And so
There
I
you
like to
go.
ask those questions.
It takes me back. You know what? It was so long ago, I almost forgot, but that's really where I started, man. I was like 15, 16 years old back then. I love it.
So tell us this over the course of sort of your leadership journey, what are one or two of your major successes?
So my book is still being written. My uh, what I consider to have been my major success this far is that I've been able to hire us on my team. I have a team of, again, 25, 26, 27 lawyers, 80% racially diverse, 75% or more women. Uh, that's, I like that, man. I like working with my people. I like working with brilliant people who look like me, who get my jokes, who I understand where they're from. Who's got a little hood in them, and we can look at each other. And I know what they're doing and thinking. Sometimes they look at me like I'm crazy. I know what they're thinking. So I like, I like that. Uh, to me, developing that team and developing or trying to develop an ecosystem for us has been my greatest success. Everything else is secondary to me.
And so, what obstacles have you overcome? One or two obstacles have you overcome to get to the point where you can build a team of almost 30 lawyers that work for you under your clients?
Well, I mean, the same obstacles that you have and that everybody that's watching this today will go through. One, you're going to be told. I was told coming out of high school that the colleges the law schools I was, no, the colleges I was applying to were above my reach. Made every school I applied to. I was a good student, right? Uh, then in college, I was told by the college counselor that my trying to get into top 20 law schools were beyond my reach, although I had the 3.67 GPA and all that. So it starts early, right? People try to handcuff you and tell you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you can't make it. Who do you think you are to think that way? That's the first obstacle, and that's the main obstacle in your life. Do not listen to anybody who has negative things to say about your abilities. Now, listen to people who are objectively who love you and tell you how to improve. But people who try to simply tell you you can't, don't listen to them. They don't know. All right. I'm just a little Negro from Haiti. I'm not even supposed to be here. All right. And now I'm in this firm with my name on the door. So don't listen to any of that. And I'm no more special than anybody on this call. I can guarantee you that. If I were, I would tell you. If I were that special, I'd tell you, I'm really special. But the reality is this. So you're going to continue to be exposed to that when you get to your job. Some people are going to like you, and some people are not going to like you because you're black, or you're brown, or you're a woman. So you're gonna have to overcome that obstacle, and you're gonna have to overcome it within the structure of that business. Because blowing up and being pissed off and being angry all the time is not gonna help you get to your next step. At some point, you need to be smarter than My mama used to say, if you want to be able to train the dog, you gotta be smarter than the dog. Right? So you need to be smarter than that dog, and blowing up and giving the dog opportunity to bite you is not being smarter than the dog, right? So train the dog. Those are all of the things, the obstacles. I mean, I still have obstacles now, right? Some of the lawyers who are in the majority are not happy that, deep down, they're not happy to see the things that I do. They feel like I'm a reverse discriminator. If that's what they believe, so be it, right? They've been in a system that's basically benefited whites to the detriment of blacks, and I'm just trying to bring a little balance. And they dislike the fact that my team is very much a colored team, and they get the best assignments, and they'll say, well, you want them to go to the best training and all that. I say, yeah, but I pay for everything. So when they eat off my plate. So you all don't have to worry about that. So it's going to continue. So if you think there's a point where you become successful and that you're no longer just a Negro, let me know when that happens. I want to hear about that.
You mentioned a couple of times earlier about some of the mistakes you've made, and you said there are many. What are one or two that you just wish you had back and could do over again? And I like to ask that question because again, our students, they see you with your name on the door, or they see me or others, and they think, we were sort of perfect, but no, we made some blunders along the way and had to overcome a few things. So I want them to know that it's okay.
Look, here's the good news. The good news is you could be highly imperfect and still have a great career. That's the good news, right? Because we are proof of that. We've made a lot of mistakes, lots of mistakes, and your job is to learn from our mistakes and never repeat them. But having said that, some of the mistakes I've made, at times I think I've been extremely inflexible in dealing with others, particularly as a lawyer. When you're in a partnership and you have a lot of partners, uh, you have to maintain the art of diplomacy and flexibility. And I've been very much an ideologue at times that has created conflict that I could have probably avoided. Uh, but that's kind of my personality, right? And I and learn from this, be who you are, but also understand how to tame some of the beast in you. My deal is I have no problem with conflict, right? Some people are extremely uncomfortable with it. I'm comfortable in conflict. I'm comfortable in warfare, right? But that's not necessarily to your benefit or to the benefit of others who depend on you. So but my biggest, the things that I really look back, and I don't regret anything, but look back that I've learned a lot of were to determine how to play better with others who may not be likely or like-minded, and also how to maintain calm and composure, uh, and not be quick to tell somebody to jump off the bridge. Uh,
Mm.
I think those were critical things for me to learn patience, calm, and patience is key, right? Sometimes you just have to wait things out and you have to make change, and change sometimes takes a little time. There's very little change that happens overnight. So learn those things.
So it sounds like even from the things that you would like back or the mistakes that you've made, you need to sit down and reflect on those and find ways to grow and turn those into development opportunities for the future. Is that a fair statement?
100% better said than I could have ever done it. 100%. And
Okay.
I'm still a work in progress today. I still, and that's why it's good to be surrounded with people that you trust from all walks who are your mentors, right? Because they'll tell you, people who love you, you respect will tell you, okay, maybe I wouldn't have done that. And then you learn from it.
So now I'd like to get into some of the sort of sticky and more difficult parts of leadership, just to sort of help our young people understand some of these issues. So say you have an underperformer on your team. How do you light a fire under him or her?
So I am very different than probably 90% of folks in that people wait till it's time to have the formal evaluation, generally, to have the conversation on performance. I'm not that guy. You have we talk every month. I talk to everybody every month. So they know every month where they stand with me, what they've done right, what needs change, and and if not every month, they'll know in the moment. So I don't hold things back. I'm very polite, and I'm not a yeller, and I don't think that's appropriate. And I'm not someone who's going to cuss at anybody. That's just not appropriate. But I'm very direct, right? I'll be like, look, that was not an acceptable product. I know you can do better, and that's what's expected. So my folks and the folks who work with me always know where they stand with me, and I think that that's something I learned coming up, was that you have to always go to your management and know where they stand, because otherwise they move the goalpost on you. So I did it as a way of survival, and I was able to internalize it and use it as a system of better development of team and also better guidance on my team. And and I had to recently tell a lawyer who works with me who is extremely talented. I'm not going to say he or she, or binary. Let's call non-binary, non-binary uh, person that said, "Look, your work is excellent, but I can't rely on you because you don't get the work on time to me, right? So I'm not going to put you up for partner this year." Uh, and the response from the lawyer was, "But my work is very good." I said, "Your work?" "Yeah." I said, "That's the thing that," and I said it this way, "the thing that pisses me off the most about you is that you're right. You give me the work late, but I don't have a single change to make on it. So I can't even get on you to say, you missed this, you missed that. Your work is perfect, but I can't trust you to get it to me. And if I can't trust you to get it to me on time, then it's a breach in our relationship. So I can't turn you over to be a partner." Lawyer was upset. And then we went to dinner about a few days later. Lawyer expressed the concern. I expressed my concern, and then we moved on. And the lawyer will be a partner next year, but this year will not be a partner because it's a two-way street. As much as I give to you, you don't get to just take and not give back what you're supposed to at a minimum.
So it sounds like in dealing with sort of difficult conversations and to an extent, sort of difficult people, you would say, don't be afraid to sort of dive in a respectful manner and sort of confront the issue and have the conversation.
It does no one any good to be mad and keep it inside and not let the other person know how you feel. It's bad. It poisons the relationship. My goal is to maintain our relationships for as long as I practice. I want everybody to be successful. So you owe it to that person to keep them completely informed on how you feel. If you don't think their work is up to par, why would you wait till 6, 7, 8 months later during the evaluation to bring it up when nobody remembers? Right? Do it right here, right now, politely, and in a way that's firm and that requires a commitment for improvement. And then keep doing it every month until that person shows you that they don't belong there. Typically, you will see a lot of improvement and then you can save that person. If your goal is to save that person, that is.
Good. Okay, so we have a couple remaining questions that we're going to jump into, and I think they're pretty good questions, and you'll enjoy these questions.
All right.
So, what advice would you give a college student on leadership, and would that advice change for a 30-year-old younger professional that's already started on their career path?
Yeah, I think the a college student and a 30-year-old are two different people, right? The advice on leadership for a college student is leadership. Your leadership skills need to be focused on yourself. And I mean, you need to lead yourself to do everything that's necessary to take you to the next stages of your career and of your life. That means being at every meeting 10 minutes early, never being late, meeting every commitment that you've made, making sure that your work is the best. Let me tell you, if you show up on time 50% of the time, or on time all the time, you will beat 50% of the people naturally. It's just that easy. Most people can't even show up at meetings on time. So the leadership that you develop has to be leadership of self, making sure that you create what we call the personal integrity, the professional integrity piece of yourself. The person who's 30-year-old, then now you're starting to be exposed to real opportunity to develop others, right? Real leadership, the people, again, who are the best leaders and the people who are identified as the best leaders are the people who are committed to the mission. Don't worry about competing with Jim or Jan. That's not compete with finding ways to accomplish the mission in the best way, the quickest way, and that helps everybody. that you will be identified as the leader naturally, and you will move forward, because most other people will be focused on trying to make themselves look good and push others out of the way, or take from Stan because Stan is a competitor. That's not true. That's not your place. Your place is, what is the missions? Go home and figure out if there are better ways to meet the mission. Bring that up to your management, and they will see you as somebody that's always thinking to improve what they're doing and to improve the lot of everybody else. And that's how you will become the best leader that you can be.
So someone said they want to be the next Don Prophet, leader of leaders, brightest mind, one of the brightest minds in the country, the person that some of the brightest minds in the country come to for guidance. What would you tell him or her to start that trajectory and prepare for that road ahead?
I would say, why shoot for so low? You should be thinking way higher than that. Being the next nonprofit is not a big deal. Look, I think if you want to be good at what you do, if you want to be successful at what you do, you have to be devoted to what you do. That's the only thing that's kept me, that, and I will say a big ego, and also the help of wonderful people like Kevin and people in my life that have extended hands, because anybody that tells you they did it by themselves is a fool or a liar. So I didn't do it by myself. I've had a lot of help throughout my life, from unexpected places and from unexpected people. So, but the key component is devotion. You have to be so devoted to the mission, to what you want to accomplish, that nobody can rock you out of that devotion. It's just like people who are in church who love Jesus, right? You could tell them whatever, they're like, no, Jesus got me, right? So it's the same thing. The mission is this. You're going to have a lot of people tell you you're not smart enough. No, the mission is the mission. You can have fires. People are going to light you on fire. It's okay. You're going to jump in water, and your mission. You keep walking towards the goal, right? You keep walking towards the goal, and you will achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. The other thing is this: is always remember this, and this is critical. And it sounds hokey, but as you develop in your life, you will see this. Give more than you receive. Period. What does that mean? That means help as many people as you can. Take time out of your schedule to do things for others. Help your coworkers. Help people, because that's where the karma is built. You put some great karma out there. You help people without expecting anything in return. That will come back to you in spades. You will see that. I promise you that.
So, two more questions, one quick one and then one closeout question. You got to tell us, man, what is it like to see your name on the door of the law firm, man? When you look at the card and you see your last name and the name of the firm, what is that like?
Gooch, it's interesting because I get that question a lot. And I have to tell you that there's only been two times since I've had my name on the door that I've really had any, uh, that I've really ever spent any time even thinking about it. Is one, when I made the move to the firm, I told my mama. And then it was two, one day. So, like the notepads have the firm name. And then I was doodling one day, not listening at a meeting. And then I looked, and then I realized that my name was on the notepad. And I thought, I chuckled, and I just look. Here's the reality for me. I'm happy. I'm proud that I've been able to get my name on the door of the firm. But it's also very painful to me in many regards, because there have been so many other brothers and sisters who are far more talented than me, who should have garnered this a long time ago. The fact that I'm the first and the only is more an indictment of the legal profession than a narrative that I'm this great person. So I really never think about it. It's just not something I spend any time thinking about ever. I don't see it. It's just like gray noise to me. My goal is I'm in pursuit of the mission, whatever that means. And so whether my name's on the door or not is not something I think about ever. And my mama never mentioned it. So my mom was my toughest critic. She was like, "I'm proud of you." She never mentioned it again ever. So we led very balanced, emotional lives. We don't let the highs get too high or the lows get too low.
So then in closing, what do you want your legacy to be as a leader and as a person?
As a person, first and foremost, I want my epitaph to be, he was a good dad. He was a good man. He tried his best. He wasn't always, he made a lot of mistakes with his family, but he loved his family and would have done anything for them. That's my personal legacy. My professional legacy is this. He was a real Negro who loved his people and did everything he could to bring opportunity, commercial and professional and legacy opportunities for people of color in the legal profession. Everything else is insignificant to me.
Well, those are both darn good legacies, and we have definitely appreciated this conversation today. And thank you for taking the time out because we do know that you are a busy guy. And I personally thank you for always answering the call and looking out for a brother. And I look forward to catching up with you next time you're in Atlanta. And thank you for your time today.
Hey, much love, brother. And let me just shout out you guys, 100 Black Men. The stuff you're doing in Atlanta is amazing, man. So thank you. This is what I'm talking about, legacy plays, man. So much love to everybody, all right?
For those tuning in, next week we have Chief Justice Leah Ward Sears, the first African-American woman to serve as Chief Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court. And we have a treat coming up 2 weeks after that. I think it's March 17th, where Tommy Smith from the 1968 Mexico City Olympics will be joining us for a discussion on leadership and his journey. So we hope you tune in next Wednesday and then 2 Wednesdays later for Brother Tommy Smith. And thank you for your time today, Brother Prophet. It's been amazing. And thank you. And I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thanks all. Be good. God bless.